Ancient Rome vs. Ancient Greece. Who was superior? It's hard to argue that both ancient Greece and ancient Rome weren't superior civilizations. Both were advanced beyond their time and managed to leave an impact on the world that still resonates today. But which of the two was superior? Well, here are some points that might help us decide. Ancient Rome lasted much longer than ancient Greece. The Roman Empire lasted from 27 BC to 476 AD, while the Golden Age of Athens only lasted for about 185 years from 480 BC to 323 BC. Even if we take the entire Greek civilization into account, including the Mycenaean period and the Hellenistic kingdoms, it only amounts to around 800 years between 1600 BC and 323 BC. Rome alone had 10 times more time to grow and develop. So naturally, it seems to have an advantage. The economy of ancient Rome was much bigger than that of ancient Greece. In its peak, the Roman Empire stretched over 3 continents, Europe, Africa, and Asia, and covered 5 million square kilometers. To put this in perspective, all of the current European Union combined only has an area of around 10 million square kilometers. Ancient Rome ruled over many prosperous regions like Egypt, Anatolia, North Africa, and the rich provinces of Gaul and Germania. Because of this, they had access to abundant resources, a huge labor force, and vast trade networks, which helped them become one of the wealthiest civilizations of the ancient world. The GDP of the Roman Empire is estimated to be around 1.3 trillion US dollars in modern value, whereas the GDP of ancient Greece was around 30 billion US dollars in modern value. But there is one thing that ancient Greeks excelled at that Romans didn't: trade. While ancient Rome was mainly focused on military expansion, the Greeks were known to be great traders and merchants. They established colonies all around the Mediterranean, from the coasts of modern France to the Middle East. They were masters of the seas and the purveyors of luxury goods. Many precious items found in Roman palaces originally came from Greece or through Greek intermediaries. Speaking of the Greeks, they invented democracy, which allowed for ordinary citizens to vote and participate in politics. This was a radical idea at the time, and it completely changed the way that power was structured in society. Romans did have a form of representative government, but they weren't exactly a democracy. Power was concentrated in the hands of a few, and most people were excluded from participating in politics. It was only with the rise of Christianity and the fall of the Western Roman Empire that representative democracy would make a comeback in Europe. Romans did have an advantage over the Greeks when it came to their military. They were master tacticians and developed some of the most sophisticated war machines of the ancient world. Their legions were known for their discipline and efficiency, and they were able to conquer vast swaths of territory very quickly. Romans also built roads everywhere. They had a well-developed road network that allowed for quick and easy travel throughout the empire. This helped to facilitate trade, communication, and military movements. The Romans believed that building roads was so important that there was even a saying in Latin, "The road is the king." Roads still bear witness to their engineering prowess across the Mediterranean, with many sections still passable today. In comparison, the Greeks didn't have as strong of a military as the Romans, but they were still very capable fighters. They developed the art of war, and their hoplites were some of the most feared soldiers of the ancient world. They fought in iconic battles such as Marathon, Thermopylae, and Salamis, where they defended against the mighty armies of the Persian Empire. What's surprising is that despite being enemies for most of their history, Rome actually inherited much of its culture from Greece. In fact, Romans considered the Greeks to be their ancestors. They adopted many aspects of Greek culture, including their religion, philosophy, and art. The Romans admired the Greeks and were eager to learn from them, and many Roman elites sent their children to Greece to study at the famous Academy of Plato. Romans were fascinated by Greek culture to the point that during the Republic period, it was fashionable for wealthy Romans to have Greek slaves who would serve as their personal teachers. Ancient Greece was also home to some of the most brilliant minds in history. Philosophers like Plato and Aristotle are still studied today, and their ideas have had a profound influence on Western thought. The Greeks were also pioneers in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. They made significant advances in each of these fields, and their discoveries helped to lay the foundation for future progress. One of the biggest differences between ancient Rome and ancient Greece was their approach to life. The Greeks were known for their love of beauty and their pursuit of perfection. They created some of the most beautiful works of art in history, and their temples and statues are still admired today. The Romans, on the other hand, were more practical. They were less concerned with beauty and more concerned with functionality. For example, Roman buildings were often made of concrete instead of marble, and they were designed to be as efficient as possible. Romans were also more interested in power and conquest than the arts. They loved to build large and impressive structures to show off their power, such as aqueducts, roads, and fortifications. However, they also used their power to control and exploit others. Despite their love for beauty, the Greeks could also be quite brutal. They participated in many wars, and their soldiers were known to be merciless. They also had a system of slavery, and their treatment of slaves was often cruel. Religion was another important difference between Rome and Greece. The Greeks had a more complex religion with a pantheon of gods and goddesses who controlled all aspects of nature and human life. The Romans, on the other hand, were more practical in their approach to religion. They had a simpler pantheon of gods, and they were more interested in the practical benefits of religion, such as good crops and successful military campaigns. Romans were also more willing to adopt foreign gods into their religion. As they conquered new territories, they often incorporated the local gods into their own pantheon. This made Roman religion more syncretic and inclusive than Greek religion. So which was truly superior? If we judge them based on their longevity, then Rome wins easily. But if we judge them based on their cultural achievements, then Greece takes the cake. Both civilizations had their strengths and weaknesses, and they both made significant contributions to the ancient world. Ultimately, it is up to each individual to decide which civilization they admire more. Rome vs. Greece. Which one is your favorite? If you're a lover of ancient history, then you probably already have your favorite between ancient Rome and ancient Greece. We want to know which one you think is superior. Let us know in the comments below. Why did the Roman army win all its battles? Now that you've learned a bit about how ancient Rome compares to ancient Greece, what about the Roman army? Did you know that the Roman army didn't lose any of its battles during the Punic Wars? Click here to learn more about the Roman army and why they were so successful. Other videos you might like: 10 crazy facts about ancient Greek and Roman mummies. Did the first Olympics look like the modern Olympics? Who were the most powerful gods in the Roman Empire? What were Roman villas really like? How did they work? The mystery of Cleopatra's tummy.